How's it going? I'm Cody J. Morell, and haven't been on camera in a while, but today I wanted to talk to you about some overlays that we came out with. My wife and I are also affected by all the quarantine-ness and shutdowns and all that stuff. And for a while there, we had to work on some client stuff and get some stuff done, but now we are done with that. And we can focus more on YouTube and creating more tutorials for you guys. So today, I'm gonna show you how to use like the photo overlays that we made and the video overlays. They're called chromatic. They're glass overlays that we made in-house with our cameras and our prisms that we own. And they're really cool, like post-production tools. So that way you can not always have to worry about using a prism when you're out, just in case you're worried about missing a shot or if it's a really fast-paced thing. So let's just get right into it and I'll teach you how to use these overlays. Now we're back in Photoshop. I'm sorry, I had so many outtakes right before this that I couldn't get it. We're in Photoshop. We have our chromatic overlays downloaded. Again, link is down in the notes. Make sure to go there and download it first. They're 10 bucks for each pack, 15 for the bundle. Super good price if you want to mess around and have a good time while you have a break from work maybe, or you're stuck at home like we are. So we created these kind of inspired by lens distortions, man. Like they're out there making some cool overlays. We really enjoy them. We also thought maybe we could do them ourselves. We thought we could maybe do them ourselves. So we did. We named them chromatic because we used some pretty interesting prisms on it that created some really cool rainbow and like very dramatic effects. We shot these with an A7R III cool. With 85 1.8. The Sony 85 1.8. We used a Quasar Science LED 2-foot light on a pole, and then we shot the light towards the prism, and we just held the prism in front of the camera to get these like really cool effects. And honestly, I'm so stoked with how they came out, and Jen did such a good job on her photo overlays that I can't wait to show you how to use them. So we have this image, and we have all of our files, and what you're gonna wanna kinda do is you're gonna wanna use these in a way that coincide with your image. You don't wanna just like throw them on and like be like, okay, hope these look good. You're gonna wanna kinda look at your image and then look at what's in the actual folder. So for this one, I already kinda peeked at it a little bit so I could have a little idea. So we're gonna go with like chromatic 16. So as you can see on the left side, it's heavy with these streaks and then it kind of fades off to the right. So what you'll want to do is you just drag this onto the image in Photoshop. That's why I have the folder to the right, so you don't have to do a bunch of jumping around. If your monitor is not big enough for that, that sucks. Buy a better monitor. Just kidding. But okay, so we can, when we put this on the actual image itself, it's gonna look small and you're gonna be like, what the hell? So we'll drag it to the top left corner. We'll rotate it to the right way. And if you hold shift while you're rotating, it'll rotate in actual increments of 15, I believe. Yeah, 15 degrees. So you can rotate it perfectly. And then you do not hold shift, you just drag all down the corner and you can drag it to the size of the image. And then you're just gonna hit enter on your keyboard and there you go. And you're probably like, what the hell is that? That looks terrible. And it's like, you're right, it does. I mean, just like that by itself, I mean, it's cool, but it's not what you're going for. So how the hell do we make it work for our image? We're gonna go to blend mode. Blend mode is right here above your layer, and obviously that doesn't look good either. What we found works best with these overlays, and you can go ahead and experiment and play around with it, and it's all gonna come down to your style. But what we personally use is screen. See how screen kind of gives you that cool, like just awesome flare in the bottom right corner? And this is really great for if you were out shooting and you just like are paralyzed with the thought if you should use a prism or not. Because I know Jen, she'll sit there, she has 2 cameras, she has a bunch of lenses, and she has prisms, and she gets overwhelmed. And I get overwhelmed thinking about if I should use a prism for something too. So instead of that, you can shoot the day and then come into Photoshop or Premiere, like I'll show you in a little bit, and use these overlays so you don't have to decide at that time. It's just really cool for post-production. So right here, I'm pretty happy with that. I think all that I would do is I'd zoom out a little bit using Command minus or Control minus on your keyboard. And then you're going to just drag it until you think it looks good. I'm gonna go with that because I wanted to have a little less on the image, maybe a little more subtle. And after this very subtle elopement photo, I will show you how you can use them pretty intensely or very, very stylized. So that's all it really takes. And I know Photoshop can be very intimidating if you're used to just Lightroom. So hopefully in the future we can develop a Lightroom plugin where you can just drag and drop them or apply them. I'm not sure how they work. I don't use Lightroom a ton. I use Photoshop mostly because I'm a graphic designer and filmmaker. So I'm usually making thumbnails or whatever in Photoshop more than anything. So, okay, cool. We got that all saved or done. And then we're just gonna save it. I'm pretty sure you guys know how to do that. You'll wanna save it in whatever format is best for you and sizing is best for you. Again, these overlays are pretty high resolution and the files are pretty large. So if your computer is not super powerful, you might have some slow times with it. The only reason we kept the resolution so high is so you could manipulate them without losing quality. So, I mean, they're like from an A7R3. So I think they're like 6,000 by 4,000 or something like that. 6 by 5, some maybe. I don't know the exact resolution. You can see them in the file. But yeah, they're awesome. And honestly, I'm just like stoked to use these all the time. I use them on so many things. So we'll go to another image just to give you another example. I already did this earlier and I didn't hit record, so I'll just show you again. So I have chromatic 2. Chromatic 2 is way bolder than that other one. So you'll see like when you first drag it onto your image, you're gonna be able to transform it. So you can start dragging it right away. So you gotta look at the image again. What way is gonna make it so it looks good? Again, I already did this earlier, so I'm gonna go ahead and just drag it. Oh, there goes my computer. Again, come on. We'll just wait it out. There we go, waited it out. That might happen to you every once in a while with these overlays just because of how high resolution they are. So anyway, we'll set this to 90 degrees. I accidentally did not hold shift. So I'm gonna suffer the repercussions of that and have to drag it manually to 90 degrees. Alrighty, so then we'll take this, actually, you know what? I'm gonna zoom out. We're gonna do Command minus or Control minus, and we're gonna shift it the other way a little bit. And what you can do is you're gonna wanna see where this lines up, and you'll see in a second why I'm being so meticulous on which way this goes, because there's like that hand that goes, okay, there we go. So we'll zoom back in. Now, if you're wondering where the hell this photo came from, there's actually a website called Unsplash. Unsplash is a super rad website. You can actually go on there, sign up for free, and download tons of stuff, like photos, textures, wallpapers, just really cool stuff. You can make composite images. It's free, and you can use it for whatever you want. It's just a community of creators that want their stuff to be out in the world. I think that's pretty noble. I don't know. You don't have to get paid for everything. That's all I'm trying to say. You can do art for fun, you know, and like for enjoyment and let people enjoy it. So I really like how that looks, and I like where it's positioned and everything. The only thing I don't like is the contrast amount on it. So we're gonna go ahead and go to our levels. We're just gonna start dragging like the actual shadow area, maybe a little bit better. And if you don't know how to use this stuff, that's okay. You can also go just to like adjustments here on image and go to brightness and contrast or any of this stuff here. Play around. Honestly, that's all I ever have done with Photoshop. I've never had any like actual technical training. I've never taken any classes. I mean, YouTube. But again, just play around until you like master it, because that's all it really takes is just messing around with something for years, and then at the end of it, you're a professional. So this looks awesome. I'm stoked on that. I might post that to Facebook actually in a second. But anyway, so we'll go ahead and save that. All right, now that we're done with the photo side of it, let's jump into Premiere and I'll show you how to use the video side of it. Okay, sounds good? All right, let's go. Okay, cool. So now we are in Premiere. We have a file that we want to mess with and do an overlay on. We have our overlays imported. If you download them, they're 7.5 gigabytes. They come in 3 parts, and then you can just merge them into one folder. So that way you don't have to mess with it later. Hopefully, if you're watching this, you already know how to use Premiere a little bit and know how to import files. If not, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you want to see and I'll make it for you. We'll make some beginner stuff too. So, okay, we have our overlays. For this, I'm just gonna start with like more of a classic one. And what you'll notice when you download the pack is you'll get 5 rainbow overlays and 5 kind of more classic glass overlays. They're just, again, super interesting. They're really fun to play with, just like mess around. So I'm gonna grab this one. This one looks very interesting and they're all 15 seconds long. So 15 seconds is a pretty good time, we thought. And so what you can do from there is you can go in and you can kind of just mess with your color. You can add contrast. You can make it more saturated or less saturated. Take out any of the like chromatic reflection out of it if you want. I like it, so I'm just gonna leave it in there. Maybe just put this this black, the black's up a little more. Okay, cool. And then you're going to select your blend mode and you're gonna change that to screen. Now screen is gonna do basically get rid of all the black that's in the image. So when it overlays, it's kind of transparent or translucent. So as you see on the playback, it's kind of flashing over in the corner there. Looks like it could be, I mean, that's a little dramatic. But once it goes onto that flare right there, you could drag it over and then you have all this like flaring and dancing around, which the DZO film 10-24 already flares so beautifully that this is just like a bonus, like little cherry on top. So it's pretty straightforward when it comes to the overlays. You can try different blend modes. You can try different things. Like overlay is a little darker, obviously. It kind of does some other stuff. You can change the opacity of it if you want it to only be like very subtle. It's way more subtle, kind of more believable. And then so there's like the normal glass overlay, and then we'll show you some of the rainbow stuff. Again, we created this with 2 quasar science lights for the rainbow effect, just so we could have like contrasting colors. So those lights are super cool. You guys should go check out Quasar Science if you haven't already heard of them. I will link them down in the notes. And we have our contrast and stuff here. Just mess with that. I'm gonna do the exposure and change this to screen. So as you can see, it's pretty intense. And we're gonna turn off this keyframe and we'll go about 50%. And you'll see like the rainbow ones are quite dramatic. I think they're awesome. We're definitely in that era of like really cool lens effects and just things going on. And obviously you want to be very intentional with it. And this is just for educational purposes right now to show you, but that's pretty much it. And then at the end of everything, you can actually merge it and like nest your footage so you're not playing a bunch of tracks at once. It's my bunny. He's like scratching himself. He's so funny. Anyway, that's pretty much it for video. Video is a little less complicated than photo because it's moving and you don't have to like position it perfect every time, although you can. So if you have this right here and you have a 4K image or video, and your 4K timeline, you're gonna have a little bit of wiggle room because these are 6K files. So look, you can drag them in and out. They become bigger and smaller. I wouldn't push it too far past like 130% before you start maybe getting some blocking and weirdness going on. If you are on a 6K timeline, but if you're on a 4K timeline, you have quite a bit there to play with and kind of manipulate them. You can spin them and rotate them. So if you're like unhappy with where a flare is landing, you can just flip it around and there you go. You have a whole new freaking overlay right there just by flipping it. Just becomes a whole new thing. So it's pretty awesome. If you guys are interested in downloading them, again, it's down in the description. You can download them for $10 for video, $10 for photo, or 15 for both. I just really want to thank you guys for watching. And honestly, if you enjoyed this content or you're looking forward to more, make sure to subscribe. We're going to try to release a video at least twice a month, if not once a week. Just really depends on what goes on with all this like quarantine-ness and what happens in the future. So stay tuned because we're going to release a lot of fun stuff and even maybe some merch in the future if you guys are interested. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you guys kind of want to see and what you guys need help with, and we'd love to make that video for you. So until then, I'm Cody J. Morell, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care of yourselves.